Good morning, good morning. Okay, there's still a few people registering, but we can get this show on the road here. Okay. Right here's fine. We have one more coming. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Alderwoman Marina Dimitrievich, and I'm really happy to have you all here in beautiful South Shore Pavilion. So thank you for coming and spending about 2 hours with us today if you can. There's so many thank yous, so I'm going to make sure I cover everybody. This meeting came out of nothing I ever really wanted to do or planned to do, really, to be honest. But this is a really unique time. A lot of darkness going on, but there's a lot of light literally shining in this room at this moment. And I'm really motivated by it. So in times that are tough, I have been inspired and motivated by each and every one of you coming together and building community. That's what we are. Hold on, we got plan B. There we go. Okay. Anyway, anything can happen. I'm so inspired by us coming together and building community and being resilient. I want us to walk away today feeling like we have an update of what's going on. I wish I could update you on is what we're doing in the city of Milwaukee and the Milwaukee County Council, the best that we can to protect our communities. Additionally, we'll answer some questions here that have been sent to us from many of you all. Thank you for getting my millions of emails asking you to come, the agenda, send your questions. We'll have an update on the ice out legislation, which I'm happy to talk about. I'm one of the authors. We'll take a few questions, and then at 11:45, we will all intentionally, if we will, before we go to our assigned training area, visit the tables of the many organizations that are part of this movement to keep our communities together and safe. Okay? So, thank you first of all to the Milwaukee Turners. Thank you, Milwaukee Turners. Their director is here, Emilio de Torre. There's many staff and volunteers. This would not happen had you not volunteered, and of course they're doing the training. The smaller room in the back at noon will begin the legal observer training, okay? At noon in here will be the mutual aid building a community defense network training. And that is led by Jody. Where is she over there? Jody is with Micah and Voces de la Frontera. And with that, I hope you've heard of Voces de la Frontera. We have Christine Newman Ortiz here as the executive director. We're also joined by our Milwaukee Police Department, Captain Lightsky. He's our captain for District 6. Thank you for being here. He's going to help answer some questions. Okay, and I have a couple of elected officials I want to note, and then we're going to get moving. So, I saw a couple trickle in. County Supervisor Jack Ekblad, are you here? All right, thank you. And State Representative Christine Sinicki. Also, we have County Supervisor Stephen Shea. And all the way from the North Shore, County Supervisor Ann O'Connor. Where are you? All right. There she is. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to provide you is, does everybody have the ICE out legislation update? Okay, a few weeks ago, in my position as your Milwaukee, he was going to park his truck. He'll be up here as well. He's from Ford Latino. When he comes back, I'll introduce him.
And then there's chairs.
Okay, yep. Yeah, please raise your hand if there's an empty chair by you. We want everyone to be comfortable and seated. Thank you. Grab a seat if you will. This portion's only going to last about 40 minutes, so. Chairs over here, come and sit down. And when Daryl's in the building, come to the front. Okay. Thank you. Just a friendly reminder for media, you're always welcome. We're always open and transparent, but we would prefer not to have the trainings filmed so that people feel comfortable in a safe environment. So I will let you know that when that time arises. Okay? All right. So a few weeks ago, in response to what we've seen across the nation, specifically in Minneapolis, your Milwaukee Common Council, perhaps you saw the news, there was a lot of news on it, came out with an ice out package. Honestly, I'm one of the original authors and co-sponsors, and we were inspired by some of the work we saw in places like Philly. We saw what happened in Chicago, and ways for the local government not to just sit there and say, we can't do anything, this is all the federal government. I never thought I'd see a day where the federal government could, and these are the words that I'll use, come in and occupy and invade a local city, and I wanted to be sure I was doing everything to prevent that from happening. And if I can prevent it, thank you. If I can't personally prevent it, I want to do everything and look back in this moment and make sure we are prepared. So by you being here today, you're part of that preparation, but we also have some things that we can do legislatively. I want to be honest, it's limited. We have limited authority as the city of Milwaukee. What I was quoted saying, and I'll say it again, is we cannot do everything, but I promise you, we will do everything we can. And that's a commitment that I have personally and to you as city residents. So in our ice out package, as you see here, I know it looks kind of like an internal document, but there's a number of things that we talked about. There's an ordinance relating to law enforcement identification. What that means is that we don't believe in any secret police. We believe both internally with Captain Lightsky and many of the officers here, that police are in such a unique job, which is a hard job, of authority, that they must always clearly show their identification and never, ever, ever conceal their identity or cover their face. So, thank you. So 2 ways that we want to accomplish that procedure, which is what governs the City of Milwaukee Police Department, to basically implement that exact procedure. We felt that we wanted to do that in the City of Milwaukee, and we go a step above in our ice out package, and we say that no law enforcement, federal or anybody, can ever come into the city and conceal their identity or cover their face.
Yeah. Does that include ICE?
Right, exactly, federal government as well. Yeah. So there's challenges to that. We're being told that we may or may not be able to enforce it, but we are going to set the standards high, and we are going to push as hard as we can. Daryl is here, thank you. Daryl Maureen is from Ford Latino, thank you. So let me get through everything and then we'll get to some of the questions. I talked about the standard operating procedure and the uniforms and appearances. We have a resolution that prohibits the use of city property by federal law enforcement agencies engaged in immigration-related activities. You cannot use our City of Milwaukee property to stage federal immigration-related activities without the proper notice and permitting. We believe that City of Milwaukee residents and taxpayers have the right to know, and it must be transparent so that we can have an open process if that's going to be used. So that's a part of the ISAP package. A couple other ones, one that I put a lot of time into is I say that we're saying no to a lot of things, and this is a moment where that seems just right to say no, but we're also going to say yes to some things. We're going to honor and recognize that this city is a diverse city. It has a rich immigrant history, and personally that's why I choose to live here and raise my family. I'm actually a daughter of an immigrant myself, if you can't tell by my last name. And so that's what makes Milwaukee beautiful and strong and economically thriving. We must recommit to that and say it now more than ever. So with that, we're joining other cities across the country to create the Office of New Milwaukeeans. And what that's going to do is the mayor has a goal of reaching 1 million people in the city of Milwaukee. We're at about 500,000 right now. We do want to be a city that's growing, that has economic opportunity for all, that's united, integrated. And an Office of New Milwaukeeans joining cities like Detroit, New York, and other ones across the nation to really double down and centralize on that effort, providing the services we need to unify our community and also working to actually increase population. And what does that mean? Bring in new talent, new workforce. A city of Milwaukee that's actually competing for that great new talent and workforce and families. Okay, moving along. A couple more that you can see, and then I'll wrap this portion up. is the potential use of our emergency communication system. Well, as you know, we have a pretty robust emergency communication system, whether it be 911 or even the text that you receive sometimes for like a silver alert. Part of the city and county help control that. We are studying the possibility that can be helpful, or even through 211, if there's an extreme need in a neighborhood, to notify that specific neighborhood about any needs, or if there is an increase in surge in ICE activity, and trying to use that network. This is something that other cities have done. So we're exploring that as well. Thank you. Yep. Lastly, but certainly not least, is you can see it by the nature of the pre-submitted questions. I think we've all played out what would happen, and probably no one has played it out more than our police officers themselves, if there was a surge in the city of Milwaukee. And I want to be clear, we have no information today that there is any planned surge in the city of Milwaukee. Christine will talk about what happens if there is something. That's part of what we're talking today. If there's someone is seen, or if there's a suspicion, there is a network, a phone line to actually verify that. There's another training where you go out and verify it. So we do not have any information right now in the city of Milwaukee. As you know, ICE has always been in the city of Milwaukee, but when it comes to this 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 person surge, as of today, we don't have it. We hope it never happens, but we want to be prepared. And I just want to make sure that no one takes away from this meeting that we have information that it's going to happen. In fact, this is weird to say, but I hope you're all trained, and I actually hope we almost never have to use the training. But it's certainly good to know. So the other part, when we saw families torn apart across the nation, we also saw our constitutional amendments be challenged in a way that I had never imagined. And I know that was really disturbing to all of us, and it continues to be. And you think after two people from Minneapolis, American citizens, were actually killed in the streets, I can understand why you're feeling unsettled. One of the things that we talk about is changing the standard operating procedure within the police department to actually have what's called duty to intervene. And it's uncomfortable. This is a hard time, struggling time. But I think you all want to know that when you're exercising your constitutionally protected rights to protest, to organize, to help somebody in need, that those will be protected. And so we're working very closely with the police department. I mean, you have mayors. The mayor of Chicago has actually said that police officers would have to investigate and even arrest. Some police departments talk about that. But it is challenging. I think we hope that moment never happens, but we saw it happen. And I think we have to be open about it and have these difficult discussions. Because in the end, we want you to call our Milwaukee Police Department. They do a great job in responding to our requests and feeling safe. And I'll be the first one to say it, that when there's a large amount of people, Captain Lightsky himself actually leads the department that works on crowd control. They are trained properly and locally to know us, rather than some federal agent that's never been in our city before. So we would much rather work with our Milwaukee Police Department than some federal agent that doesn't have the proper training to deal with, I think, one-on-one or large groups of people or organizations, and unfortunately, we all witnessed that happen. So this gets at that. So that's the majority of what we have here. It's about 11:20. So I do actually want to start with what I just ended here and go, if it's okay, Captain, to the question that specifically talks about the personal safety when it comes to constitutional rights. So did you want to talk about that one? The last one that I just talked about. Okay. So this is Captain Lightsky.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Right. So yeah, just once again, I'm the commander of the of District 6. So that is the southmost police district for the city of Milwaukee. So Bayview, the West End, the airport, everything pretty much south of Cleveland Avenue is it's going to be District 6. So Alderman Pejavich, Alderman Regalis, Alderman Spiker, and a portion of Alder Zamaripa's district are all contained within District 6. She mentioned that I have another hat there. I'm the crowd control commander for the Milwaukee Police Department. I've been in that post since fall of 2020. I think we all remember 2020, going from May through the summer. In the wake of that, in the wake of a dismissal of a prior chief, a interim chief came in, was a director to rebuild command staff, to prepare our department to go forward. And at that time, I was appointed as the crowd control commander for our and so, in the last 6 years, our team is one of the largest in the country. We have to stand about 250 strong. They are volunteer members, so they are not taking traffic stops every single day. In the case of a needed emergency disaster, it could be large events, it could be other types of concerns about emergencies involving, including civil unrest and other serious concerns. We will work together and we will be able to use our tactics and our training and our equipment to restore public safety. In that, in the last 6 years as commander, and I've taken a lot of heat for it because, of course, there are people who feel differently, but we've had hundreds of marches, and hundreds of demonstrations, and hundreds of protests, and hundreds of events in the city hall. And nobody's been arrested, nobody's been interfered with, no tactics or tools have been necessary to address that. We have a very strong belief, we're really proud to protect a city of Milwaukee that has strong community organizations, caring residents that are greatly concerned about issues that are important to them. Right now, we're talking about immigration, there's environmental issues, economic inequity issues, police brutality issues, all of those things that protests and march about. And right, you have been given a wide berth by the police department because we understand the North Star is public safety and not impeding or controlling speech or some of the things that we believe are happening elsewhere in the country. Right? We believe that strongly. So while I'm very familiar with the history of policing, I teach it actually, the good and the bad. Know that your Milwaukee Police Department is on the cutting edge of protecting residents, right, to ensure they can exercise their First Amendment rights. That is our track record.
All right.
So let's get to the problem today, right? So a couple things. One issue that we have great concern about is identity. So if I've got 3 officers here, if you 3 could please come on it, you might stop over here, and Officer Reyes Kendall and Cameron, you can stop over here. So what we got here are 3 officers. They're all wearing blue. They're all wearing what are known as external body carriers. So you know, I was not a big fan of the external body carriers, but the science did, and they really do provide relief for backs. To be able to put the weight off your hips and onto your body carrier. So these are external over there regular. So you can take that apart, but to be able to put weight on that is also another thing here. So you got the cloth badge fixed, right? So there's the metal badges that pop off all the time, but every Milwaukee police officer also has to carry their metal badge. So this is what an actual police officer looks like, okay? They're going to be in a uniform, right? They're going to have their tools of the trade with them, but they also are really able to identify themselves by showing you a metal badge if it's not clearly exposed, whether it's because of their jacket or their external body armor. They will be able to show you their police ID upon request. They will be able to tell you the badge number. They'll be able to tell you the work number, where they work, and more importantly, when they stop you based upon reasonable suspicion or conduct traffic stop, they are directed to inform you as soon as practical why they stopped you. Okay, so this is a significant difference from what I'm understanding is occurring nationwide, especially with our federal agencies.
Right.
Right. So these are what police officers look like. So please, you know, understand that when if there were to be a search, and this is a hypothetical, and as crowd control commander, I oversaw the crowd control elements of the Republican National Convention, so I interfaced with all the elements, right? You guys, USSS, FBI, DEA, ATF, CDP, right? So all of them, and I have good relationships with all of them, and they were good about letting me know when they're coming and going. One relationship that we don't have with, and they don't care to have a relationship with us is ICE and the agents that are conducting searches. They will not tell us if they're going to come to town en masse. They will not, if they do, they will not tell us where they're conducting operations. They won't ask for our assistance. We won't provide it based on our standard operating procedure 130 related to our immigration policy. But as we know, right, the concern there is when they interface, come in contact with residents that care about protecting all of our residents, not just our citizens. So, when that happens, our officers will likely have to respond in some form or fashion to keep people safe. Once again, that's our North Star, is public safety. But understand a couple things. ICE won't tell us where we're going to be at. So a lot of the hypotheticals that have been posed over the last few weeks and months about what's going to happen and what can officers do to intervene and these kinds of things, understand we are very, very, very unlikely, because we cannot chase around ICE all day long. We have a very large city of people that we need to protect with our regular duties. We don't have the bandwidth to chase around ICE. And that's what they're doing, because they won't tell us where they're going. So please understand that, anything, most of what we would be doing is after the fact. We would like to protect our residents. We would like cooperation from, group leaders that'll be on the street at that moment. But most importantly, please, and I know your community organizations talk about this. Do not get within arm's distance, running distance, right, closing distance of any federal agent if you want to go out there and try to protect your residents by, filming or blowing your whistles or what have you, right? Do not let them get their hands on you, because we've seen what that looks like. Do not let them get their hands on you.
What is
Please
the
keep a safe
distance now? It's between you and me. What's the distance that you want us to keep between him and you?
From me to the back wall. From me to the back wall.
Distance?
Yes. And if anybody's watched any of the video, those federal agents do not care about covering that distance. They will enclose on you, en masse, and grab you. So please be safe about keeping a distance when working with you.
Thank you. I know that is hard to hear. I want to give everybody an opportunity. Thank you for being honest. Not easy to deliver that message, but I think as somebody who's out there day and night trying to protect us, you can hear that that's a difficult message to deliver. And we are part of our legal observing training is going to talk about specifically how that could look. I think that's important because we wouldn't even know what happened to Alex and Renee had it not been observed and filmed, right? There was a congresswoman who talked about the two defense mechanisms we have right now are our cell phones and our whistles and each other. And so I think talking about how we do that in a safe way. What the captain's trying to prevent is more loss of life, more harm, and whatnot. And what we're trying to strike a balance today is how to be unified, smart, trained, if this moment does happen. At this point, I want to open it up to 3 questions from the audience. I'm going to ask you to please, we have a lot of people here to ask 3 questions that you feel that really haven't been answered. And then we're going to get to the trainings. And I think much of the questions will be answered in the trainings as well. So we're going to do 3. I'm going to ask you one more time, with all due respect, please, this is not the time necessarily for a political statement to stand up. It's a question that you truly want answered that you think a lot of people might want. If you want to make a political statement, which I think is beautiful, call and email the Common Council and the mayor and ask for action on the ICE Out package. I think you can do that. You're also making a political statement, and it is received by our action by coming here today, by meeting these organizations, by maybe becoming a member of the Milwaukee Turners, maybe a member of Voces de la Frontera, by getting to know your neighbors and creating the solidarity. That is resistance as well, and it is powerful. So let's get 3 questions. I saw this hand go up first. and I will get you the right answer. So this is number 1 of 3. We're not trying to limit it. You can obviously email or call, and perhaps some of them will be answered in your training session as well that will start at noon. Please.
Hello, my name is Madeline Berlin. I have a question about the new ICE facility coming up on the Northwest side. I do understand, so quick background, I am an immigrant, my family, I'm from Germany, and so for me, the fact that there might be a concentration camp built on the Northwest side is very, very disturbing. So I want to know, I know you have been looking into what opportunities there are to use zoning laws in order to stop this. I know the federal government has like tremendous overriding abilities. I wonder if the city council has looked in any other possible direction to try to stop this facility to start operating. And I'm talking delaying, I'm talking like alternative pathways. I know Kansas City has used a very creative way of addressing these issues. I just want to know.
Excellent question. In fact, I just recently signed on to a letter with other colleagues about possibly having Milwaukee School of Engineering discontinue their contract that they have over there on that street as well. So there's many jurisdictions. You're right. It's tough. I mean, just like licensing, zoning, if we didn't want a certain business, now imagine the federal government. And they have some pretty sophisticated lawyers too. And so actually obtain that office space, and they are beginning it. We are examining everything possible that we can. I'll let you know personally how I feel is ICE is not definitely welcome here, not welcome in the city of Milwaukee. I think it's important to actually say those things and stop normalizing that this is just inevitable and it's going to happen. But it is challenging for the city of Milwaukee. We are investigating it. We're trying to change any kind of special use permits. But what's known as the right, they already have the right because it is zoned for that type of activity. And that's the problem. And like I said, it is unique. We are trying, I could tell you that we could stop it completely, but it is a work in progress. And like I said, that building was already available, it was on the market, and the private people that run that are already actually like in negotiations with them. And then, so Amelia wants to add to it, some of these groups on the ground. And I do want to mention one thing when we go to the groups. One thing that I've learned through this moment is there's a lot that the government can do, and I promise you, like I said, we're going to do everything we can, but there's also so much, this is a moment as well for a rising up of the people and the community organizations. It was Emilio who actually said it that way, is that we will do what we can in government, but this might be a particular unique time for our organizations on the ground and in the community to do what they've always been doing in a stronger way. So Emilio, if you want to add to that, and we have 2 more questions.
Thank you, Alderwoman. So even more wealthy, larger cities than ours can't prevent them from building. You hear the same thing in New York City and Los Angeles, where they've been adamantly against this forever. However, all of you that are business owners that provide service to your communities can refuse to give that service to ICE officers and agents from the town. You do not have to rent your rooms to them. You do not have to serve them in your restaurant. You do not have to make them feel welcome. And you can let them know every day that Milwaukee is not a city of suckers who are going to take it lying down, that they're going to let them know exactly how unwelcome they are. You can let all your businesses know, like my friend Barb here is holding up a sign that the Turners make, that Bosses makes, that says, demark your areas as private, make sure that if they show up and you have an open space in your community, the places that are private spaces are marked off and clearly labeled so. And if you see masked, armed men wearing Kmart discount fatigues and balaclavas pretending to be police because they're not wearing the uniform that the captain just showed us, I don't know who they are. I'm calling the police and reporting that there are armed men outside of my facility. It's not my job to if they're not showing me their ID, why should I believe them? So do that also for committee and show up to support our alders who are pushing for the ICE out legislation. They need you there Tuesday, 9 a.m., 9:30, parking sucks, show up early, 9:30, to show them that you care. It's one thing, and I know you care, but we have to consistently show up and show we care.
Okay, So stay tuned on that. We are exploring a lot of tools, zoning, permitting, like Emilio said, cities that even have more resources than us are struggling. One thing I won't do as we have these meetings and continue this moment is not be honest. Like, I wish I could tell you some of the answers that you want to hear, but it's up to me to be honest about it. It's a challenge. They have been planning this for quite some time. And so that doesn't mean we're giving up, we're just trying to be even more creative. But I do feel your pain and understand that that's terrible and triggering and traumatic, and we don't want to have that in our city. So, 2 more questions. So let's go over here. Steve, you had a question? Yeah? Okay, then I'll do 3 because he's elected. So we'll do 3 more. Yeah, Steve.
This is for Captain Linsky.
Okay.
Whether we're a trained observer or not, if ICE approaches us, if they tell us to leave, or if they tell us to put away our phones, what should our response be?
Okay, I'm going to say it out this way because it's hard to hear people talking this way. So what do you do in that is part of the legal observer training, but now Supervisor Shea is asking Captain Lightsky what to do if the ICE agent actually requests that of you, right? Okay, if you want to add anything to that?
You know, I know your constitutional rights, and I know you know your constitutional rights. You have every right to film law enforcement activities in the public space. You have every right to occupy the public sidewalks and the public spaces that may bring you in distance with federal agents, close enough where they're going to ask you to stop doing those things. They shouldn't ask you to stop doing that. That's your right to do that, but also understand. In my opinion, that they are poorly trained. They are very light, if anything, on constitutional law, actual, understanding how to actually police. They're not good at policing. Policing is a different animal than law enforcement. They're very single-minded, and they've been given bad direction all the time. So while you could be technically right about your right towards you, I would recommend creating some space. Because I've known them to arrest citizens for doing things that are constitutionally protected. So, I'll just tell you bluntly, public safety means I have to tell you, please don't let them get their hands on you. So, there's a way to, keep filming, but from a safer space. I know we don't want to give it to the bullies, but there's a long game here. And the long game is that you can show up the next day and try to help out your neighbors again. So please don't put yourself in a position to get arrested or post.
Good answer.
Yeah. And about that long game, thank you, is also, again, reaffirming your commitment to organizations like Turner's, Voces La Frontera, Ford Latino, everybody who's here, and building that neighbor network. If a surge was to happen, one of the things we might ask is to stand up and support our neighbors, help people get to school, work safely, maybe deliver any needs to their houses. We can do this. And Voces La Frontera and the Ice Out Coalition is going to talk about that. So I think how I look at it is in that moment of anger and wanting to out there, can we double down and use that in solidarity and service simultaneously to build up that infrastructure to keep our neighborhoods safe. And it is an endorsement for the mutual aid training because this will live long beyond, right? We hope things change in the next couple of years, but this network that we're creating, this neighbor-to-neighbor solidarity is powerful, and there'll always be more of us than any of them. Okay. 2 more questions, something new that hasn't been discussed here with the green.
Hi, this is my best question, but any way to avoid electronic tracking during gadgets?
Yeah, this is a great, and I will start it too, thank you, yeah. So, the proper term, but I know what we all mean, is basically surveillance, so let's have that talk. I have been particularly questioning much of the surveillance out there. We're building these networks that law enforcement does sometimes use in a particular situation with a verified case, whether it be an automatic license plate reader, cameras. The surveillance is definitely out there. I think what that question is about is what if it gets in the hands of somebody or the federal government trying to divide a family, and how do we make sure that it's used carefully and not end up in hands that might be interested in that. And so they do need to have a judicial warrant. Emilio is quite the local expert on this, but there are ways. That we have contracts with Flock. There are many monopolies. These are large corporations. It goes to the Fire and Police Commission for standard operating procedures. So I can let you know that it's about finding a balance. Some of these tools are incredibly valuable, and I want to make sure I'm honest about that when it's a silver alert or a missing child or trying to solve a tough case. But what we don't want is that to be a wide open sea of information that can be dipped into at any time. Also, it just feels uncomfortable to know that you're constantly being surveilled. That's frightening. So I'm going to have Emilio discuss a little bit more to your question.
Do you have 2 hours? So it's a very complicated question because you're being surveilled in a lot of different ways all the time. 2 quick victories. There are 2 moratoriums now. The police department and Chief Jeffrey Norman put a moratorium on the use of facial recognition technology. And just the other day, Sheriff Anita Ball also put a moratorium. That is because folks like all of you showed up repeatedly and voiced how unsafe this was, how discontented you were. Those are just 2 of 1,000 different ways that you can be tracked. And so really, the Turners and other groups are happy to offer more comprehensive trainings on things. Your social media is being tracked. Your cell phones are being pinged with cell site stimulators like Stingrays and other things. You can buy or download inexpensive tools from the Electronic Frontier Foundation like Raycaster, which will let you know if these are being operated by ICE or the police or a private entity. But there are many different things. You can buy cheap Faraday bags to prevent this. Just know that these types of tactics that have been used for investigative leads by law enforcement are now being looted by the federal government. And if you want to take a look at how nations like Russia and China and Israel use the Stingrays specifically, they won't arrest you at a large demonstration. They know your cell phone is there. They monitor it, and they'll show up late at night when you're alone, and they'll arrest you because they pinged your cell phone there. So push back against those tech specifically, and also the Flock technology. You're seeing what happened. An officer just used it 179 times on a love interest in their ex. These are very dangerous tools that we should not use, that we should shut down. They should only be accessible if a judge approves a warrant to use that. That people shouldn't be able to do that willy-nilly and suppose the guilt of all of you, which is what's happening right now, and then have that get stolen by ICE. There are no guardrails that can be put by local law enforcement to protect the feds from taking this. So you can reach out to us.
One last question, and then Christine, Emilio, and Daryl will take like 1 to 2 minutes each, because I really want you to be familiar with their organizations. Then we'll table, and then we'll go to our trainings. So, Ron, do you have a question? Okay, great. Okay, we have 2, so let me do, are they both pretty quick? Okay. Okay, let's do this simple one, and I'm gonna come to you, and then that'll be it. Okay.
Hi, my name's Kelly, and from what I understand, that there's no protection for people who take public transportation. County buses have to allow ICE onto the buses. Some of our students at MKS take public transportation. How can we protect them on the county buses?
I saw a couple county supervisors here. I'm not sure if you've even explored that yet, but Ann, are you willing to talk about that? Okay, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, because sometimes we don't have. So Jack and Ann, you know, we have part of the ICE Out package while I'm walking is we're also trying to what we call create safe spaces for all. And I know Jody's working in the ICE Out Coalition, if you're going to be in here for the training, actually looking through each of those, whether it be buses, schools, libraries. We just want people to not have to live in fear as they're going about their business. So Ann and Jack. Okay. Let's just briefly, here, Ann, stand by the mic so we can, I feel like a talk show host walking over here. Okay. All right, just real briefly, guys.
Steve Fuentes, the CEO of MCTS, the Morgan County Transit System, is on record as saying that public buses are public domain, and so they do not need a judicial warrant to enter the public buses, our understanding, right? Is that correct?
Yes, unfortunately, that is the case. I was actually just emailing with him this morning on it as well. So everything that we do is similar to the city, where we have limited tools available to us. And we also have to make sure that we're in compliance with legal standards and that would be enforceable. So at this moment in time, that is considered a public space. And we've asked them to explore, can they at least implement requirements like no masking and identification. So that's an ongoing dialogue, but if that is something of concern to you, and I've heard that from other people, this is where the people power comes in. And we are the county representatives, Jack Ekblad, Stephen Shea, and myself, Ann O'Connor. Please email us so that we can continue to understand what the public will is on this.
And just to double down on the people power, we got our brothers and sisters in the Twin Cities and what they've been able to accomplish, that should be a beacon for us.
Yeah, right. And I don't know, Stephen will want to.
As chair of the Transportation Committee, we will explore this issue in the very near future, I promise you.
All right. Thank you for flagging that. Christine Newman Ortiz from Voces La Frontera will add a little bit. I think you're doing work on safe routes to schools. So she'll give an update here real quick.
Marina, so up to speed on things. Yeah, so Voces has a youth arm called Youth Empowered in the Struggle with various chapters in high schools. And so we've been meeting with the teacher advisors who are part of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association, our student leaders who've done, as you all know, have been participating in all of these student walkouts against ICE abuses. So it's just a really beautiful thing to see. And having those conversations with the superintendent and the administration, and the students did flag that this is a concern when they are taking the public bus, that kind of gap. And what we've talked about so far is just reaching out to the county and making sure it's part of like the whole safe haven kind of component where people know like protocols around the 1-800 ICE sighting hotline, where there is the training that's taking place so people know what their rights are, so that we can activate kind of that whole network that is built into community defense network.
Right, right.
Thank you so much. MPS on its own also, and I know this because I'm an MPS parent, has protocols, because one thing we've learned in this moment, it's one thing to have policies and protocols, but people don't know how to use them. That's even more alarming. So I've seen that they're doing trainings, internal messaging, etc. When Daryl talks from Ford Latino, it's hard for me to talk about this, but we also talked about what would happen if a child would come home and their parent wouldn't be there. And what that would look like legally, because we do need, part of being prepared is having those hard moments and walking through what might happen. And he's done a lot of work with power of attorney and so on and so forth. So I'm going to have him lead off the community portion right before we table, and we're going to get to our last question. I think I can remember a lot of things. So Ron, what is your question?
Do you think that by our being prepared in just what we're doing here, what the city is doing, the police department, the county, that this is sending a message that we will not be moved and that we are prepared to stand together and take care of ourselves and all these other organizations that are working together? So do you feel that might help us to not have ICE come in here? Because as we've seen, Chicago and some of these other places, when they have stood up to ICE, then that really does help.
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of the perfect ending question to this portion. So what Mr. Winkler was asking, I was actually asked this right before we did our ICE Out package, and they said, Marina, if you and the Common Council come out so explicitly and we're so transparent about our work that we've all been doing here, you might also kind of tempt ICE or President Trump to come in and occupy our city. I 100% totally refute that.
Yeah.
I think that is exactly what they want us to do. I'm not, you're actually saying it the positive way, so, but I wanted to be clear that that's not what you do, you don't give in to bullies. I'm not going to stand here and not organize and not be prepared, that's not an option. I don't think any of us in this room want to look years from now and not think that we didn't do everything that we could possibly do. I know I'm not going to do that. And things will change. Things will change. We will be here in a few years on a different matter, and I think that there will be brighter days ahead. And so, just to respond to that, will it prevent them from coming? Perhaps. I hope so. I don't want them to ever go anywhere else again in the United States. So, I'm not thinking, oh, they went to this city and not Milwaukee. I don't even know what they're thinking. We could all think, oh, they're going to purple states, blue states, big cities, little cities. We are a vibrant, we're the largest city in the state of Wisconsin. I think that if they see that we're organized, that they're going to make their decisions either way. As Christine has often said, and I've heard her say, is that they have it predetermined, premeditated. This is part of a premeditated federal political agenda. And the only way to defend our communities and what we believe in is to do what you're doing today. Stand up together, get trained, build our networks, build our infrastructure. This movement cannot be broken, and it's actually a beautiful thing. I ask you to take every training, to get to know your neighbor in a new way that you never have. Sign up as a member for all these organizations, because I think that is the best way to be prepared. I'd rather be completely prepared as a city leader than be sitting there in City Hall when that moment may come and have not done anything. That would be terrible, and I would feel terrible. And so I think that we're doing the very best that we can. Thank you very much. And we're doing it because you asked for it. You all asked for a meeting like this, so your people power matters. We're gonna do Daryl, Emilio, and Christine for like 1 minute, and then we're gonna go to our trainings. So I wanna make sure you know about these organizations. Daryl Morin from Forward Latino.
Thank you. How about a big round of applause for the young women? We work with local, county, and state governments all over the country. And so many times we're walking into environments where we don't have a partner. So once again, let's get the electeds. Please stand up. I don't want you guys to be shy, right? Give them a round of applause for being welcome. And we've been working for over 5 months on a lot of these different policies, the board house, the county, the state, etc. So thank you for that. I got to tell you, seeing you all here today was really inspiring. We help a lot of hate crime victims. Now you're not seeing it in the news, and it's because they're afraid if they report it, the people who did the horrible things are going to go back and finish the job. But it's happening everywhere. Last week, I was down in Dilley, Texas. Used to be known as the watermelon capital of the United States. Now it's known as the place that our country sends families and children. And detains them in some pretty horrible conditions. Just 2 weeks ago, a 2-month-old who'd been suffering severe respiratory issues for over 2 weeks, they finally decided to take him to the hospital when he was unresponsive. Once they stabilized him, they deported that child with the parents with no money to a city in Mexico they'd never been to before. That's what's happening right now in our country. It's really easy to get down, but seeing all the faces, hearing all the calls, getting all the emails coming in from so many people saying, this is wrong, we're not going to allow it to happen, is what keeps all of us going. So thank you all for coming here today. It's also about all of us, right? We're developing a coalition, not just here, etc., to work together to do what's right, so that's great. A couple of quick things. First off, you were talking about the buses, right? It's not getting much news because now we're off bombing another country, etc. And we just kidnapped another dictator from another country, etc. There's a battle going on right now in Washington, D.C. in the Capitol over DHS funding, right? If you haven't called, the number one thing you should do when you get home today is to call your representative, both Republican and Democrat. They all need to hear from you. What they're saying, what the policy we're supporting, saying not one more dollar to ICE, while you allow government agents to wear masks and refuse to show ID. Not one more dollar to DHS for warrantless arrests which takes care of the bus issue. And so many other issues where the Supreme Court said it's okay for them to racially profile folks. That really clears up that issue. So many other things. So if you haven't made that call, don't just say, oh, she's good on that issue or he's good on the issue. You need to call and make sure they know your position. Okay? That addresses so many issues we have today. Last thing, I'm sorry, I'm not going over. Over there on our table, there's 2 brochures. One is a toolkit, right? It's available in English, Spanish, and mine. Later this week, it'll be available in Burmese and Somali. What's in here? If you know anybody who's at risk of being separated from the family, there's an urgent to-do list they have to do right now. When we get a call at 2 or 3 in the morning and they haven't done those things, it makes our job so much harder, right? They have to do that to-do list. There's a list in here of what to do if you're detained, how to find your loved one if they're detained, because what they're doing now is usually within about 5 to 6 hours, they're moving them out of the state. And that creates an even scarier situation for, your spouse, your children, etc., right? Things you can say over the telephone when you're detained, things you can't say, right? All that kind of stuff is in here. Attorney referral list, powers of attorney, right? So if you or a loved one is removed or detained, they can sell your house, they can sell your business. But more importantly, we learned this first time around. We were getting calls from school districts. We have staff taking kids home, we have teachers taking kids home. We don't want to put them in the state system because it wasn't designed for this kind of separation. What do we do? So also in here is a power of attorney for delegation of parental power, right? People are out there selling these forms for $500 to $750 a piece. They're free, right? Keep your eyes open. If you have someone who's really talkative, who's a person of color and from a minority community, all of a sudden they're a little sheltered, look for those signs if they've suffered. And if, I'm sorry, I know I've gone on, but thank you all once again for coming out today.
Thank you, Daryl. Daryl has our table over there. We're going to do the last 2 organizations and then get ready for your trainings. Make sure you look at what you registered for. We've also been joined by State Representative Ryan Clancy. Ryan, give us a wave. Ryan, don't be shy. You know you're not shy, my good brother. All right, Emilio Dettori.
Milwaukee Turners.
You know who we are. We've been here since 1853. We were founded by refugees and abolitionists, and that's an important thing to remember. We haven't forgotten where we came from. We provided the armed bodyguard for Abe Lincoln for his inauguration. We were the first group to ban Nazis as members of the state 4 years before we entered World War II. We continue to be a part of Milwaukee, and as you get stronger, we get stronger. And as you need to do these things, we do these things. Everything we've created didn't spring forth from my head. You volunteered, you helped make it, you make us strong. You can join us, become a card-carrying Turner like your grandma when she was eating fish fries over here, or your 19-year-old son when he's gonna go see Gogol Bordello or El Tornillo over there, and you can make them embarrassed, you can make them proud. The beautiful thing is that you are a part of a 173-year society in a 133 building. Check us out, see our fantastic volunteers. We have about 20 volunteers here today because they're all people that care. If you take a look at the city, the county, Dane County's websites, our immigration training and other trainings are there too. They're all free, like Zeidler said, produced for use, not for profit. The same links to the power of attorney and what you can do in any scenario involving ICE is all there for free, multilingually, and sadly we have to update these once every couple of weeks. Reach out to us, we've always been here for you.
I want to let you on stand up. Questions are done, I'm sorry, because we're just doing the final moment here and then we're going to go to the training, so save that question, I can grab it informally. Christine Newman Ortiz from Voces de la Frontera. And then again, we're gonna go check on the tables for a few minutes while we go to our pre-registered rooms. Christine Newman Ortiz.
I just want to thank Marina for organizing this town hall and just recognize all of you who are here today. It's definitely inspiring that we're all rising to meet the moment our way. And so I'm just curious if folks have been to a May Day march in the past, Día Sin Latinos and Immigrants. Just want to raise your hand. All right. So Voces de la Frontera, for folks that don't know, is a statewide member-led organization. We've been here for more than 20 years, and we've really led the immigrant rights movement here in Wisconsin, and are part of a national network called the Fair Immigration Reform Movement, which similarly has it's member-led. And so we coordinate. And the Community Defense Network, which is kind of part of the training that you're seeing today, was really started under the first Trump administration as a coordinated effort by immigrant-led organizations to defend. And the components I've shown this quickly, but just to kind of get the sense of the scope you're having a part. But it really is about the Know Your Rights trainings, the ICE observers, we're adding the kind of de-escalation, nonviolent, peaceful protest to that. There's also, as part of mutual aid now, we've been doing, which has been a tradition for a while now, but I would say in Wisconsin, we have seen a spike with arrests in the courtroom. And so there is part of in mutual aid is the court accompaniment training, the workplace training. And I think out of all of those different types of trainings, what we learned under the second Trump administration from our brothers and sisters in Chicago and Los Angeles who came and met with us was scale it all up, and coordinate. And so that's really what we've done. It's what's helped with ICE of Milwaukee. And obviously the good thing is there's been a long history of work together and collaboration that we can build from to really just get as many folks as possible, to get those basic trainings and knowledge so we can be ready if and when things happen. So thank you for being here tonight.
This concludes the first portion. You're 50% through. Now it's, like I said, speak up, like the meeting's called Speak Up and Take Action. So again, please, you being here is the most valuable part of this process. And you have a training that you likely pre-registered for. It's in the upper left corner of your agenda. The main room here will be for the mutual aid community defense, and the smaller room is for legal observer. So you can start making your way kindly over there and stop at the tables. Consider becoming a winner. Thank you.
So I'm going to go by some of the tables, get some QR codes on the stuff like that. No, they don't want the training sessions recorded. Sorry.
Monitor law enforcement or ICE officers.
Yeah, let's go over.
Like at least the strategies that we also organizations that
This is the Milwaukee Diaper Mission. QR code for anybody that needs it.
Sorry?
I'm live streaming.
Have you heard of the Connect Mission? I have actually. I got to know the Phoenix workshop.
Yeah, I'm going to be over here for you later, but I'm talking about for the deaf community to be able to come. We would like to be involved in those Know Your Rights trainings as well. So we're wondering if you have the date set up so that we can spread the word to the deaf community and also to make a request for interpreting services.
We have a few dates coming up in the month of March.
Okay, do you have those dates?
Yep, and there's going to be the presentation in the digital.
Okay, great. And so do you
Alright, head over to the next table.
And then we can exchange contact info.
Okay, somebody wants your QR code. Hi. Just going around to all the tables.
I'm amazed at how
non-violent people. And this one is either to the Responsible General Josh Hall, asking him to establish a central communication system for civil rights violators within our law enforcement. This wise
It takes back.
size option or whatever, because you already have it, just make the.
Should I even do a shirt, or can I just donate?
No, you can just donate,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll just donate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Just making sure people get,
Please share everything you can.
If it's recorded, I can, you know.
Go back and find it, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the Hmong version, here is the English version,
Did you walk on 76th and Layton Avenue? Did you do signs there?
I've been, I think I protested there maybe once.
How are you doing? So this is English, this is the Hmong version. And in here, you will find, this is the urgent to-do list.
Badger always wears a badger looking hat.
You'll find what to do if you're detained, how to find your loved one if they've been detained. That's the really scary part. Trusted attorneys who we've worked with over the years that won't just take your money and sentence. Yeah, we weren't able to win.
Do you bring
These are the free
music?
ones.
Yeah.
If you qualify. If you run a business, this is the attorney.
Usually. Just to keep spirits up. Yeah. I'm all over the place, so. Yeah.
And then a power attorney for financing property and then back.
Okay, this is Ricky. You are in the neutral area.
All right, so I think they're gonna start the training here. So I'm gonna cut the feed. So
Anyone in this room?
please support the Milwaukee Turners.
The language